All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now. That is stupid high now. It wasn't earlier, now it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time. Damn. All right, let's see how that is now. All right, it's now time, ladies and gentlemen, for the one and only world famous Rich Wilson Show. Brought to you in part by no one. That's right, we don't have a sponsor. Trying to get one. Anybody want to help pay for this channel? But it is now time, folks, for the one and only world famous Rich Wilson Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Rich Wilson Show.
Wow, we forgot to take that part down. Ha! Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys doing tonight? Hope you're doing good. I'm still alive, which is the good thing, Got my Hawaiian shirt on tonight. Decided, what the hell? I need to turn that slightly. There we go. That should be a little bit better of a hit on the volume. So anyway, so one of the things that I want to talk to you guys tonight about is all these damn anti-gun myths that they keep throwing around. Of course, today we saw lots of people starting to put out their whole common sense gun reform. When you ask them what does that mean, you get all kinds of off-the-wall answers. But you don't get any real clear solutions. You don't really get these clear solutions. And all they do is they throw other ridiculous things in your face. Well, we need this because of this. Slightly in a cave sounding. Yeah, I know. That's the unfortunate part. Is that... let me know if that's a little bit better. I told you before I had to turn the gain up so damn far on this thing. You're going to be able to hear everything. Echoes. All kinds of stuff. It's going to suck. Playing around with my mic placement at the same time I'm doing the show, and the reason why is because now I don't have to hide my teeth anymore, because now I don't look like a meth addict. Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to sound bad because my voice is echoing off of the back in the room back here, and there's really nothing I could do about it. I don't know. We'll keep working on it. See how it goes. Oh, okay. I could slightly hear it now. Yeah, it's difficult to do. This mic doesn't have a long range on it, so you have to do it through the board, and when you do it through the board, unfortunately, you go from right against me to, see if this is any better. Right here, we move the mic right there. Ben said didn't get notified. Oh. Sorry that you didn't get notified yesterday, bro. That's unfortunate. But man, like I said, I apologize you didn't get notified for some reason. It should have let you know that I was on. That's really weird. But anyway, so let's talk about some of these myths that people keep throwing around. Okay? Let's talk about some of these myths. And, well, first of all, let's talk about some of the ridiculousness first before we get into the myths that happen. That should be both chats. I don't know why it's not showing you on the other. Huh, interesting. So let's talk about some of the ridiculous. Of course, we're talking about the Texas shooter situation. And, of course, everybody's decided to turn it political. The vice president couldn't help herself. She made it political. The president of the United States decided last night, too. What the president said last night was a bit ridiculous. It started off good, and he had an opportunity to really do something and really kind of unify people, and he failed. And so let's hear what the president had to say last night.
Good evening, fellow Americans. I'd hoped when I became president I would not have to do this again. Another massacre, Uvalde, Texas, an elementary school. Beautiful, innocent, second, third, fourth graders. And how many scores of little children who witnessed what happened see their friends die as if they're on a battlefield, for God's sake. They'll live with it the rest of their lives. There's a lot we don't know yet. There's a lot we do know. The parents who will never see their child again, never have them jump in bed and cuddle with them. Parents will never be the same. To lose a child is like having a piece of your soul ripped away. There's a hollowness in your chest. You feel like you're being sucked into it and never going to be able to get out. Suffocating. And it's never quite the same. It's the feeling shared by the siblings and the grandparents and the family members and the community that's left behind. Scripture says, Jill and I have talked about this in different contexts, in other contexts. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. So many crushed spirits. So tonight, I ask the nation to pray for them, give the parents and siblings the strength in the darkness they feel right now. As a nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done?
He had a chance. He really
It's
did.
been 3,448 days, 10 years since I stood up at a high school in Connecticut, a grade school in Connecticut, where another gunman massacred 26 people, including 20 first graders at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Since then, there have been over 900 incidents of gunfires reported on school grounds. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida.
I'll talk about that too.
Santa Fe High School in Texas. Oxford High School in Michigan. The list goes on, and the list grows when it includes mass shootings at places like movie theaters, houses of worship, as we saw just 10 days ago, the grocery store in Buffalo, New York. I am sick and tired of it. We have to act. And don't tell me we can't have an impact on this carnage. I spent my career as a senator and a vice president working to pass common sense gun laws. We can and won't prevent every tragedy, but we know they work and have positive impact. When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down.
They were already
when
going
the law
down.
expired, mass shootings tripled.
That's
The
incorrect.
idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone?
There's people who
Deer aren't
using
running
them.
through the forest with Kevlar vests on, for God's sake. It's just sick. And the gun manufacturers have spent 2 decades aggressively marketing assault weapons, which make them the most and largest profit. For God's sake, we have to have the courage to stand up to the industry. Here's what else I know. Most Americans support common sense laws, common sense gun laws. I just got off a trip from Asia, meeting with Asian leaders.
No, really?
And I learned of this while I was on the aircraft. And what struck me on that 17-hour flight, what struck me was these kinds of mass shootings rarely happen anywhere else in the world.
That's incorrect.
Why? They have mental health problems. They have domestic disputes in other countries. They have people who are lost. But these kinds of mass shootings never happen with the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why?
Incorrect.
Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen? Where in God's name is our backbone?
You don't
Courage
have
to
one.
deal with it and stand up to the lobbies. It's time to turn this pain into action. For every parent, for every citizen in this country, we have to make it clear to every elected official in this country, it's time to act.
You're the president.
It's time for those who obstruct or delay or block the common sense gun laws. We need to let you know that we will not forget. We can do so much more. We have to do more. Our prayer tonight is for those parents lying in bed and trying to figure out, will I be able to sleep again? What do I say to my other children? What happens tomorrow? May God bless the loss of innocent life on this sad day. And may the Lord be near the brokenhearted and save those crushed in spirit, because they're going to need a lot of help and a lot of our prayers. God love you.
Will you go to Texas, sir? Sir, will you go to Texas?
He sat there and said that they're going to need a lot of help. Didn't say what. He said, we have to do something. Didn't say what. That speech was, he had the opportunity, and he started off well, as an opportunity to unite the country behind the people in Texas. But then he decided after that to lie about information. We're going to take on the gun lobbyists. When we passed an assault weapons ban, these incidents went down. As soon as it expired, they tripled. That's incorrect. They were actually already going down before the assault weapon ban happened, and they were still going down after the ban had expired. So that's wrong. The one talking about where there's shootings happening, and he named off a whole bunch of different schools. Do you understand that if you get involved in an incident, say there's a school across the street from where you live, say somebody breaks into your house during school hours and you shoot and kill the person, do you know that that's registered as a shooting at the school because it's within 1,000 feet of the school property? I bet you didn't know that. And the reason why that change happened was because people pushing for gun control decided they needed to work the numbers. I know this because we had a similar situation where somebody used a firearm near a school, and in the report, it had to state that the school was involved. If the school goes on lockdown because there's an incident involving a gun, close enough that they have to lock the school down, they consider that part of shooting at a school. They do. It doesn't make any sense, but it does, because it happened within such a radius of the school. The school is considered part of the crime scene. Therefore, it gets added to the statistic. Literally, in the state of Michigan, there's an incident this last year where a person who lived cat a corner to the schoolyard killed himself. Okay, stuck a gun in his mouth in his car, parked across the street, and blew his brains out in the car. It's listed as a school shooting. So when they throw these numbers about all these schools, and I did see one of my friends on Facebook put a list of every school involved shooting, okay, this year. Half of that list, the shooting didn't even happen on the school grounds. It happened within proximity of the school. So that list, don't believe those lists that somebody was actually shot somebody in the school. Some of these schools, it's gang related. Some of these schools, somebody got mad at another person and only shot one person. Still wrong. So when they say that there's all these mass shootings in schools, and then they give you this list, that would be incorrect. It's the statistics on this, and I think I did a show on this once, are so off, it's insane. Out of that entire long-ass list that one of my friends posted, the shooting actually taking place on the school grounds, on the actual property itself, or inside the building, is only actually half or a quarter of that list. The rest of them were all gun-related incidences within a certain proximity of the school. So don't believe that list you see people are floating around out there. The numbers that Joe Biden threw out there are incorrect. Nikani said that 99% of statistics are made up. Well, no, this is actual. It's the numbers of the actual gun incidents is accurate. The placement of the gun incident is not accurate. Now, if they just said 290 some odd shooting incidents within proximities of schools, that would be an accurate statement. That would be dead accurate. Okay? But they say they were school shootings or gun incidents involved that were involved at the school. That is not true. Now, we, of course, I mean, the numbers are often skewed to support. No, on this one, it's not the numbers that got skewed. It's the location of the incident that got skewed in that situation. That's what that means. Now, of course, today, somebody else decided in a very, I'm going to say that I'm going to agree with the mayor of Uvalde, who called this man a sick son of a bitch. Robert O'Rourke, and people are like, it's Beto. No, it's Robert O'Rourke, who's the Democrat running against Greg Abbott for the governor's seat of Texas, decided today during a town hall that the governor was giving, and the press was there, there was also victims' families, children that had been shot and killed. So their family members were in attendance. Decided today that he was going to make this a political issue and interrupted the town hall. And I agreed. This was not the place to do this. I mean, the guy's a whack job anyway, but I didn't think he was that much of a whack job. Here, watch this. That's him in the background.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
The guy that just got up is
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
Next shooting is right now, and you're doing nothing.
No, you need to get his out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick would come to a deal like this to make a political issue. It's on like you. Why don't you get out of here?
As we're listening to the lieutenant governor speak, following a very heated exchange between Governor Abbott and former Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke, he has left the auditorium. He was asked to leave the auditorium.
Now, this is what he did right outside.
And he's now speaking to cameras now, so let's take a listen.
Greg Abbott in the state of Texas is the county jail system in the state of Texas. The largest inpatient mental health care facility in the state of Texas is the Harris County Jail in downtown Houston, Texas. He's refused to expand Medicaid, which would bring $10 billion a year, including mental health care access for people who need it. He's refused to champion red flag laws. When somebody says that they are having trouble, that they may kill somebody, they may kill themselves, a red flag law would protect the public. He's refused.
New York has a red flag law and it didn't work.
Safe storage laws so young people cannot get their hands on their parents' guns. He's refused to support. He's refused to support a ban on AR-15s and AK-47s. This 18-year-old who just turned 18 bought an AR-15 and took it into an elementary school and shot kids in the face and killed them. Why are we letting this happen in this country? Why is this happening in this state? Year after year, city after city. This is on all of us if we do not do something, and I am going to do something, and I'm not alone. The people of Texas are with us. The majority of the people of Texas are with us, but we've got to stand up to this, or we just accept this theater and business as usual, and we accept the next shooting. We could have stopped this if we had stood up after Santa Fe High School, if we had stood up after El Paso. We are going to stop the next one. We're standing up right here in Uvalde, Texas right now. That's why I'm here. That's what the people of Texas want right now. That's what we're going to focus on.
Beto, there are more guns here than almost anywhere else. Beto, what are you going to do about the guns in this state? Beto, what about the guns in this state?
What makes this one different? Why is this different? Todo que es posible para prevenir estas masacres que tenemos en cada comunidad. Sutherland Springs, Santa Fe High School en el condado acerca de Harris, en El Paso también. Tenemos el poder, pero necesitamos hacer algo en este momento. Si no hacemos algo,
candidate for governor, Beto O'Rourke, he was asked to leave the auditorium after impassionately speaking out and speaking up after hearing Governor Abbott talk about.
So while the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the mayor of Uvalde were holding a conference on everything we knew at this point, and then trying to do what he can do to comfort the family members who were there, who lost a loved one, Beto O'Rourke took it himself. Robert O'Rourke decided to take it upon himself to make a political statement and start campaigning in the middle of this when we're less than 24 hours out from these people losing their loved ones. That asshole is sick. Okay. I don't care if I was running for governor and the person in the other party was up there giving that speech because they were the governor. In fact, I would have reached out to my opponent and asked if it was possible that I could be there as well to let them know that I also send out my condolences to the entire town of Uvalde, Texas. That I would have swore to him, I'm not going to make this a political issue. I just want to be there just like you to show my support for that town and for the families. I would have never done that. And if he just said politely, no, I don't think we need to do that because people would look at it that way, I would respect his decision. Okay? You don't do that. A person who actually gives a damn and is not out for themselves doesn't do that. Doing that proves you only care about yourself. Okay? I hope to God for this state that man doesn't win. Because he doesn't care about anybody in this state. He doesn't. He cares about himself. He proved it when he was running for Senate. It was all about his social media time and all the different things he used to do to make him look good. Instead of talking about how he was actually going to do something. It's like Biden tonight saying, "Oh, we're going to do this," and did nothing and didn't offer anything. We need to do something. You're the president. Why the hell? Well, okay, you're the president. What are you going to do? Nothing. Crickets. So let's talk about some of these myths. And it just got a whole lot brighter in here. Some of these myths that you're going to see. And you may have already seen them on Facebook. First of all, let's talk about what we know on May 24th. The government, and this came, I got my information from louderwithcrowder.com. And all these are independently sourced. As you can see, you see the little blue highlight links. Those are links to where this information is located. On May 24th, the government attacked the elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, killing 19 children and 2 teachers, injuring his grandmother beforehand, shot her in the face. She is still alive. She is clinging to life in critical condition. He was an 18-year-old Hispanic male. The total victim count is 21, armed with a rifle and a handgun. He was wearing body armor. Opened fire at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. The gunman was stopped by a single Border Patrol agent who had been working nearby. That man is a hero. Because more children could be dead tonight. He went into the building without backup, decided this wasn't going to continue. Engaged the suspect. He ended up getting shot as well. But he's going to be fine. And he killed the suspect. So, a lot of people are going to tell you that gun violence is insanely high and it's just horrific. Well, according to the CDC, data from 2020 showed that there was only 19,384 gun homicides. Okay? Gun homicides. However, in 2021, there was an estimated 1.67 million use of firearms in defensive situations where somebody defended themselves and was saved. Okay? 94% of all mass shootings take place in gun-free zones. That comes from crime research. 94% of mass shootings happen where guns aren't allowed. Guns are completely prohibited. So it's already against the law to take a gun there. So you can't have a gun there. Texas law generally prohibits possessing a firearm on school grounds. Actually, 100% of all schools in the state of Texas, unless you are authorized by the school district or by law enforcement or by order of the governor himself, you cannot walk on school grounds with a firearm. Okay? You can't. So here's going to be some of your claims out there. This shooting is the fault of the gun lobby. You saw the president go after the gun lobbyists. Okay? Number one, the gun lobby. Let me move this up for you. The gun lobby didn't shoot anybody. Nobody from the gun lobby shot a single person. The gun lobby is not as influential as you think they are. In 2021, gun rights lobbyists spent a total of $15.8 million. That source comes from Open Secrets. It's minuscule compared to pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical lobbyists spent $356.6 million. Electronic lobbyists, $179 million. Insurance lobbyists, $153 million. Who's in control of who? Well, don't they go to the highest bidder? Obviously, it's not the gun lobbyists. We're the only country where this seems to be happening. We're not the only country with the most violent crime murder rates per 100,000. And this is coming from Statsa. El Salvador is number 1. Jamaica is number 2. Lesotho, which a lot of you probably have no idea where that is number 3. Honduras is number 4. America, according to the FBI.gov, much lower on that list. Much lower per 100,000 people. Okay, because you're going to say, well, America's got more people, so the percentage is going to be lower. No, this is per 100,000. Less than 5 homicides per 100,000. That's from the FBI. We are not a country with the most mass shootings per capita, even among first world countries. This is World Population Review. The death rate per million from 2009 through 2015. Norway is number 1 with 1.9. Serbia number 2 with 0.4. Macedonia 0.3 at number 3. The United States is 11th on the list at 0.09 per million people. So you take a million people in each one of these first world countries, and you look at the total mass shootings, and the United States is not number 1. So when the president says that we're the only country that has this problem, evidently not. We're 11th. 10 other countries have more of this problem than we do. And that's in first world countries. We're not even talking about third world countries. The next myth that they have, let's see if it's up there. Yep. Common sense. Hold on. Let me get back to this. Sorry. Let's see. Where am I? Common sense gun control would have prevented this shooting. That's according to MSNBC, right? Texas already requires background checks. A lot of them say, we need universal background checks. They already exist. Customers at licensed gun dealers in the state of Texas are required to pass an FBI background check. They are. You can't even walk into a gun show and buy a gun without having to go through a background check. I went to a pawn shop. Bought my 45 ACP right here that's in this box. Had to do a background check. I walked into a pawn shop to buy that gun. Why? It was on sale. Had to pass a background check. So, background checks already exist, folks. The shooter bought the weapons from such a dealer, Houston Chronicle. Yes, he did. He bought both his rifles from a licensed gun dealer. He was 18 years old, and he passed a background check. Why did he pass a background check? Because he doesn't have a criminal record. They talk about how on Crowder that they've shown you what background checks are. Any of you, I tell you right now, literally, you want proof that in order to buy a gun at a licensed dealer, you have to get a background check done, a federal one. Walk into anywhere that's a licensed dealer that sells guns and tell them you want to buy a gun, but you want to do the background, and ask them, can I get that gun without a background check? Pick one in the case. Any of the semi-automatic pistols or the revolvers. Okay? As long as it's not something from the Civil War. Okay? Ask them. Hey, is it possible for me to buy this without getting a background check? You know what they're going to look at and go? Get out of my store. Or they're going to tell you, well, no, sir, it's the law. You have to pass a background check. Texas schools are already a gun-free zone. This doesn't protect potential victims. It only emboldens criminals. Once again, another mass shooter that chose a school. Why? Because. Why did he go shoot a school? And you're in Texas. Think about this. Why would you choose a school in Texas? It's one of the few places that you will not encounter a gun. You will not encounter somebody with a firearm. Unless you go to a middle school or a high school. Elementary schools, most elementary schools in the state of Texas does not have a resource officer that's armed. Middle schools and high schools do. Today, when I delivered to an elementary school, let me tell you how this has already changed. In the state of Texas, this has already changed. I said I give it by the end of the month. Today, I delivered a bunch of donuts to an elementary school here in League City. On my way to the office, I got stopped by the first teacher, had to show my ID and prove who I was. I was working for DoorDash. Okay, and told him I had a delivery, and I showed him the phone. It says it. I had to show him my ID. I get to the door to the office. I had to show him my ID again. Had to show him that I was a member of DoorDash. I had to show him the phone app. They let me in. As soon as I got in the door, there was a law enforcement officer there who requested my ID and ran me through the system to make sure that there was nothing with me here in this area. Came back clean and clear. In fact, I tell you, the dispatcher said, Wilson, Richard D, comes back clean, clear, 8:45 hours. That's exactly what the dispatcher said. Then I handed donuts over. Evidently, they had a parent that came in earlier with a sack lunch for his kid that evidently had a problem with this. And there was a back and forth, and he almost got arrested. The bad part was, it was a little girl, because every one of these elementary schools, if you've ever go into one, they always have some kid that's working in the office, you know, kind of like as a little thing that, you know. And the little girl said, the little girl had to tell the guy, sir, a bunch of kids my age just got killed. Don't you think don't you think it's okay if you're a little inconvenienced to make sure that we don't? Something along those lines. I looked at the cop and I said, you know, it's a sad fucking day when a child has to say that to an adult to be rational. I don't have a problem with being inconvenienced to get into the elementary school so that way the kids are safe. I will guarantee you, state of Texas will change that. You will have resource officer posted in every single elementary school now. Every one of them. I will guarantee you that every school in the state, every elementary school, because the high school, I'm delivered to the high school. There is only one door and you have to get buzzed in. I will guarantee you that every single school in the state of Texas, immediately, there's one door you can get in at and you got to be buzzed in. And you got to be able to prove why you're there. I'll guarantee it. And we'll talk about that in a second. True, too, Texas schools are already gun-free zones. I already said that. Second claim that they're going to throw, or the fourth claim they're going to throw at you, folks. Assault weapons are to blame. Source, MSNBC. Okay, I'm going to tell you that the assault weapon's not to blame. The lunatic that pulled the trigger is to blame. The guns are not to blame for these incidents. The person pulling the trigger is. But here's the truth to it. Gun violence was on a downward trajectory before the 1994 ban, and that's Pew Research. That is a true fact. Okay? And it continued to fall even after the ban expired in 2004. It didn't triple like Biden said it did. And you heard me say that when he said it during his speech. Those were lies. Second truth. Handguns still account for more deaths. Than assault weapons each year. Also, source Pew. 59% of deaths are attributed to handguns. Only 3% are attributed to rifles of any kind. So more than half are still handguns, but it's assault weapons. It's these assault rifles. Third truth. Banning high-capacity magazines doesn't stop mass shootings. States with high-capacity magazine bans include New York, California, D.C., New Jersey, Colorado. Colorado had a mass shooting. New York had a mass shooting. California has had a couple of them. D.C. has had a shooter. New Jersey has also had one. But they have bans against this stuff. The Buffalo shooter was already in violation the moment he modified the AR-15 that he had. The Buffalo shooter was already in violation for wearing body armor, which is illegal in the state of New York unless you are in a form of employment that requires it. Mass shootings still occurred in Buffalo, Brooklyn, California, D.C., Bridgeton, New Jersey, Boulder, Colorado. 4 of the ones that I just listed happened within the past couple months. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm keeping you guys close up so you guys can see everything. There we go. Countries in Europe have strict bans on firing arms, yet still experience mass casualty offense. Ban firearms and people still find ways to kill other people. No one will have any guns to defend themselves. I told you guys last night, take all the guns away. Somebody's going to go kill a bunch of people with a hatchet. Then what are we going to do? Take away all the hatchets? Then somebody's going to walk in with a machete and try to kill a bunch of people with a machete. Then what? Machetes are going to be banned? Then somebody's going to stab they're going to stab 3 guys at a bar with a pencil. John Wick did it. Then pencils were going to be banned. I'm kidding about the John Wick thing. That's a movie. But still. Okay. The next claim, the Second Amendment doesn't protect assault weapons. Actually, it does. It absolutely protects them. The founders were well aware of potential improvements to come in firearm technology. Jefferson even wrote this in one of his papers. Because the question came up, should we still keep the Second Amendment the way it is, even if we make better weapons? And he absolutely said yes. The Puckle gun, the Garandini air rifle, belt and flintlock, pepper box revolver, and cannons were covered by the Second Amendment. True, too, the Second Amendment isn't just for the militia the way the left framed it. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state and the rights of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. George Mason said, I ask, sir, what is a militia? Is the whole people except a few people officials? Except for a few public officials? James Madison, letter to Mark A, explains the right for armed private vessels with cannons. Y'all didn't know that, did you? People say, well, it doesn't say you can own a cannon. Horseshit, yes it does. During the war, we had private citizens with ships. Their own private ships that they owned. They put cannons on them to be able to shoot the British. To be able to fend against the pirates. American citizens had cannons because the Second Amendment does protect for that. The Second Amendment was written so private citizens can be armed if the need arose for them to form a militia to defend their rights. See, that's another myth you get told quite often. I can go ahead and close this out. By the way, that came from louderwithcrowder.com, and then all of the blue. That's where you can go to click the links. If you go to his webpage and see this, you take you to every single one of the links to where I just talked to you about it. Okay? But the Second Amendment, okay, another myth is, well, it's only if you're a militia. No, it's not. It is, you are allowed to own guns, and then if shit hits the fan, you can, and your government has gone completely sideways, you can then form a well-armed and regulated militia to overthrow the government to get freedom back. To overthrow a tyrannical government. You know, just saying. So yes, they like to throw the myth. Only if you're in a militia. Horse shit. You're allowed to have them. So that way, if you have to form a militia, you don't have to go get guns. Once you make the decision to form a militia, you already have them. And yes, you can own a cannon. Somebody said to me today, we should ban any weapon that's a military-style weapon. Congratulations, that's all of them. And do you know why? Because guns, when first built and manufactured, are designed for the military. Then, later on, they make civilian applications. The 12-gauge shotgun was not originally made for civilian. It was not originally released. The first 12-gauge pump shotgun was not originally released to the citizens. It was originally designed and issued in the United States Marine Corps. Okay? Actually, it was the United States Army. Cavalry, I believe. So I apologize. A little off on that one. Okay? The Marine Corps had one of the first... in fact, the Marine Corps had the first AR or M16 before the Army, which is the platform the AR-15 is built off of. The SKS, what is the SK? What's the SKS modeled after? Okay, there's a lot of all these weapons are based off an original military platform. You can't own a cannon. Horse shit, I know a guy that owns one. In fact, I know 4 guys that own cannons. Legitimate military, formerly military issued cannons. Hell, my dad used to make the bang loads for the Civil War reenactments for that cannon. So yes, Second Amendment protects that. Now, the regulations of certain guns you can't own? Yes. You, without a FFLA, which is a federal firearms licensing under a classification, under the A classification, if you don't have that, and also a safe that is anchored into into a cement slab, you cannot own a fully automatic weapon. You can't. The requirements in order to own a fully automatic weapon, you can as a citizen own a fully automatic weapon, but the requirements in order to do so are insanely strict. The requirements in order to even transport it, to say, I'm going to take it to the range and fire it, are extremely strict. You know, a lot of things are extremely strict on that. Once again, these myths, they keep saying them. They're not true. And people need to understand that. And the worst part is, my Facebook feed right now is filled with misinformation of people just spouting off what they're told. It's that fake hate shit that I told you guys about before. Which you can buy a Stop Fake Hate shirt at therichwilsonshow.com. Check that out. Get you a shirt. I own one. I got one. It's nice. It's comfortable. Works really well. What else were we going to talk about today? I posted a bunch of shit. And now I've lost track. Give me a second. Let's see what my next topic of discussion was supposed to be. I don't know if I'm going to get to that today. I really want the station manager to be involved with this. With this discussion. When it comes to where I'm at on Roe V Wade. And I got a lot of trouble for this. And I don't know if I really want to jump to Roe v. Wade tonight. I'm not 100% certain. I think it may be something I want to get into on a later date. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I'm still happy. Oh, I told you guys yesterday. I tell you the same thing, today. You know, I got told that the 223 round is just so massive that it should never be used before. It should never be used by a civilian. And I asked the person, I said, show me a picture of a 223 round. Okay. Let's do that. Let's just bring that up on Google real quick. Okay. That's not going to show image. All right, let's go to screen capture. Okay, so this is what I got sent today. Let me bring that over. Drop that down. Okay. This entire thing, they think is the bullet. Okay? They think that is the bullet. Okay? That entire thing is not the bullet. This copper section on top, that's the bullet. This is the casing that contains the black powder, and of course your firing cap at the end, that projects this that way. Sends it that way. Okay? That's 223. Here we have, see if I can, there's 223 versus 556. 556, slightly larger by a little bit, and usually has a heavier load, right? But you know what is larger than that? Okay, I got you. That's something I want to talk about too. Okay, but you know what's larger than that? This is what blew his mind. That is a bigger round. In fact, I have one right here. Hollow point. Okay. That is this round is larger than a 223. Because a lot of people think, for some stupid reason, this entire thing is the bullet. Okay. And this is why you see things like this right here. Okay. See if I can blow this up. It's not going to let me blow it up or move it. Okay. They see this, right? They think this is the bullet. When it's not, it's this. 45 ACP. Okay. That's a 308. That's even smaller. Okay. So that argument's false. That's the round that's the round that I have for it. Okay. I've got those right there. So yeah, so that's another load of garbage. One of these days I'm going to play that video for you guys. I will tell you, though, I saw this today. I thought this was great. Well, no, I'll do that one later. I don't have it set up for that. Oops. I got to put that on. That Facebook comments don't feed over to the chat on this side. That's why I have to have the Facebook up. Okay. So let's talk about something that we could do that could help this situation. Okay. Now our station manager just reminded me, no single point failure solutions. Okay. You want to ban, you want to make it to where, you know, we want this one thing. We want to ban all guns. Okay. But criminals still will have access to guns because they could still get them on the black market. They could still get them. So it's still going to happen. That was your solution. It failed. Okay. You can't have single point, solutions because they won't fix the problem. And that's what the left throws out there. Single point solutions. An assault weapon ban. That'll solve it. Yeah. No, it won't. No, it won't. Because somebody can take another rifle that's semi-automatic, that has a magazine, that doesn't look like an assault weapon, and do the same damage. Take a .308 that doesn't look like a military weapon, looks like a rancher's weapon. Let's do the same damage. They have semi-automatic shotguns with magazines. I've seen them. I wouldn't mind owning one, actually. Semi-automatic shotgun with a magazine. Imagine the carnage you could pull with that. But it's not a military-style weapon. Doesn't look like one. So when you're going just based off looks, it's just rhetoric. That's all it is. Red flag laws didn't work. If somebody is reported to have a mental disturbance, that's supposed to flag them from owning a gun. Except the problem is if the person that's being evaluated psychologically lies and says, oh, no, I was just joking. It was just playing around. That's what the Buffalo shooter did. They sent him for a psychological evaluation, and he told the psychiatrist that, no, he was just messing around. He was just trying to get a laugh. He didn't mean anything by it. They let him go. They didn't put anything on the record. Guess what? He was able to go buy a gun. Red flag law didn't stop that. Schools are a gun-free zone. Didn't stop it. One of the problems we have in this country right now is we need to take a look at something. The psychology of this country should be the focus. There's obviously something going on. Because here's the reason why I say that. Yeah, and of course he did it to get out of class that day. He didn't want to be in class that day. The Buffalo shooter. Okay, but we need what's commonality here? Well, in the 1960s or 1950s, most of these weapons that are being used were accessible. In the 1950s, kids could go to the corner liquor store and buy a 6-pack of beer, a pack of cigarettes, and a gun and they could go buy a gun for their dad. All they had to do is, hey, the guy at the store knew who their dad was, and they said that's who they're buying it for. It was allowed. But you didn't have kids getting a hold of guns. You didn't have kids going into schools shooting up the schools in the 50s. You didn't really have it in the 60s. But we have it now. Why? That's what we need to be. These are the questions we need to ask on how to resolve this problem. It's not, it's the gun's fault. Because horseshit, it's not the gun's fault. That gun in that case is loaded. And I'm sure it probably doesn't like some of the things I said. But at no point did it open up the case, come out here and shoot me in the head. Okay? So it's not the gun's fault. Okay? So we can't blame the gun. Guns haven't suddenly been able to grow legs and go into schools and pull these shootings off. Okay? Passive measures won't help. You're absolutely right on that one. We can't just keep adding laws, because the problem is when you add laws, do you think that's going to solve the problem? It's not. And you know why? People are criminal. Why? Because they don't obey the law. Now, of course, the left sits there and makes fun of the right, saying, well, we should put more armed people in schools. Yeah, we should. Single point access only. double door setups. In order to get in, you have to get buzzed into a door. You've got to be able to prove who you are, get buzzed into the second one. You can put a little window in between the two doors for you to go up and prove this is why you're here, so they can tell if you should be going into school or if you can handle your business at the window. Do you realize, folks, the United States signed off and sent within literally 48 hours $40 billion to Ukraine? Do you know what we could have done with that $40 billion? I want to make sure I say that specifically because Thomas Hernandez pointed out, well, just because doesn't mean we would. Well, I've never said that we would have done this. We could have. Every school building in the United States of America, instead of sending $40 billion to Ukraine, each school building in every school district in the United States of America would have gotten $400,000. And they could have given that to address security in school. I love the fact that the left is real big about, oh, we don't want Americans to have guns and this and that, but yet we sent $40 billion for the Ukrainians to have guns to defend themselves. And it's not just military people getting guns, it's civilians. That's the confusing part. Americans can't have guns, but we'll send all of our money so somebody else can. Think about that. What could you do if you have a school building and you have $400,000 to spend on security to make sure that your kids are taken care of? Pretty sure you could build that double door setup with the window. So that way you're not going anywhere until they finally let you in. You can set up a automated locking system where the moment shit hits the fan, somebody in that office can go ahead, hit the button, and lock every single door in that school to where no gunman can enter any of them. Now somebody said, well, what happens if somebody gets stuck outside? You're right. It could happen. You're right. It could. What happens if they come in between class changes where you got a bunch of students in the school? Do not permit anyone entry into the school during class changes. That's a no time. Changes between classes. It's been a while since I've been in school. Is it still like 5 minutes? Is it still like a 5-minute change between class periods? You got 5 minutes, get out of class, change out your books, and then get to the next class? I don't know. I know my kid's in elementary school, so they still get escorted. But when I was in high school, it was 5 minutes. Bell rang, get out of class, change out your books, go to your next class. You had 5 minutes. Then fine. In between each class change, nobody comes through that front door. Doesn't matter who they are. $10 minutes. Okay, fine. It's still a 10-minute window. Nobody comes through. You go to hit the button to let you in, and they say, we're in class change. Building secured during class change. Now, I know somebody said, well, what happens if somebody wants to shoot up a school during recess? Build a wall around the school. Put a brick wall around that damn school. So that way nobody's got a clean access point to just sit there and aim through a fence. A lot of elementary schools just have fences around there. Now, some elementary schools, it's located in the back corner where you got to actually do something to get there. But there's some of them, it's right off the road. Put up a wall. Literally put up a wall. We need to turn these schools into fortresses. Because we need to show we love our children that much. We're willing to put them in a fortress to make sure they're safe when they're not at our sides. Single point accessing, double door entry, bulletproof glass, break-proof glass in that double door, Make it a container. That way, if somebody gets out of hand and still tries to get in anyway, you lock it completely down and you get law enforcement there. That way, the person can be taken into custody for attempting to unlawfully enter the building. All doors are locked. Alarm systems on the inside in case somebody decides, I'm going to sneak out the back door to go have a cigarette, in high school. You can set the alarm off. The only time that any of the other doors to the outside should be accessed is one, you got kids going out to recess, which is highly monitored. Or number two, because you're doing a fire drill. The only other door, unloading to get on this, or leaving school to get on the bus or to go out to get to your car. Which you can make the exit door the same. Yeah, it's going to slow the process down a little bit. But let me ask you a question. Would you rather have safety or would you rather have a slow time leaving the building to go home that afternoon? Or dead kids? Sounds like easy solved problem. I don't have a problem with background checks. I don't have a problem with restrictions that they already have in place to buy a gun. More laws are not going to solve the problem. The only thing more laws do is restrict responsible gun owners from owning guns. People are going to say, well, this guy was able to legally buy a gun, so he must have been a responsible gun owner. No. Before he pulled the trigger, he had already violated about 100 Texas state laws. Before he pulled the trigger the first time. Didn't know that, did you? He wasn't a legal, responsible gun owner. He wasn't a law-abiding citizen. He had already attempted to murder his grandmother prior to. Not a responsible gun owner. He literally bought these guns, and as soon as he was cleared to own them, 2 weeks later, shoots up the school. 30 minutes prior to him shooting, he posted on Facebook, hey, I think I'm going to shoot my grandmother. Shot his grandmother. Posted again, I shot my grandmother. Posted again, I think I'm going to go go to the elementary school and shoot some kids. 15 minutes later, he did it. Facebook's algorithm is supposed to catch that. If you post that you're about to shoot somebody on Facebook, it's supposed to be automatic if you put it in that sentence there in itself. How did they not catch it? The worst part about it is, like I said, it's a mental health problem, and we need to figure out what this problem is. We didn't have this in the 50s, the 40s, the 30s. Suddenly, after the 60s, we started seeing little minor incidents that have ramped up into things like this. Also, these gunmen are getting younger. Why? Because at the age of 18, unless you were a criminal when you were a kid, or unless you did something right after you turned 18, you don't have a criminal background. There's nothing going to show up on your background check. Unless you're a mental patient. This kid literally went in there on his 18th birthday, which made him legal to buy it, and went in and got it. Now, the handgun, they're still trying to figure out how he got it. Because state of Texas, you have to be 21 to own a handgun. I think as a shop owner of a gun dealer, if I was sitting there, a kid by himself at the age of 18 came in and said, I want to buy 2 AR-15s. I think personally I would have questioned it. I'm like, son, I'll sell you one. I don't think you need a second one. If you want to buy another one, you have to go to somebody else. But I'll sell you the one if you pass the check. Wanting to buy 2 on that day. That should have raised that should have set off a warning. It's not often a 18-year-old walks into a gun store and wants to buy 2 AR-15s right then and there. I get the 1, but 2? Second of all, this kid was 18 years old working at a Denny's. Right now, the average AR-15 runs about $2,000. There's some really shitty ones for like $800, $900. Where do you get the money to buy 2 of these, plus the body armor, which even in the state of Texas, I think, you got to be 16 to buy a body armor in the state of Texas. If you want to go buy an armored, a bulletproof vest, state of Texas, you have to be 16 years of age. So that's possible. Could have saved that up over there, but that and rounds for AR-15s right now, 223 rounds are not cheap. They're expensive as hell. So we're talking about he walked in the store and dropped probably about a good, with taxes and the background checks, bare minimum $5,000 with taxes, background checks, ammo, magazines. Who's an 18-year-old that works part-time at Denny's running around with $5,000 in cash from? But that's not important. We have a mental health issue that we've got going on in this country. The pandemic didn't help. We have a lot of people with social media. We're finding out the kid, and this is not an excuse for what he did. The kid was teased in school because he liked to wear mascara and he was a loner. He was bullied. Okay. You look at some of the interactions, just some of the interactions I have alone on social media. And people just say all kinds of nasty shit about me. Speculating tends to get us into trouble. No, I understand that. Like I said, it makes me wonder, but it's not important really to this grand scheme of things. You know, unless somebody gave him $5,000 to go buy all that shit, they could be culpable for what he did with it. But that's beside the point. Oh, damn, James Rathlow has been over there commenting. They got mine last time I posted something that negative, talking about Facebook catching negative comments about hurting someone that badly. Yeah. Okay, so back on where I said, well, how come Facebook didn't catch it? But the thing is, look at Facebook. Look what happened during the pandemic when people couldn't go out face to face. The keyboard warriors became immense, saying all kinds of mean and nasty shit about people. Just horribly. You know, if you disagreed with somebody, some of these people go on outright tirades on how horrible of a human being you are because you disagreed with them. Our social structure and psychological interactions with each other have degraded so badly in this society. And I believe that's where you're going to find a lot of your problems that are causing these issues. The psychological construct of what's happened in society now has gotten so bad and so full of vitriol that you have people doing this. This is where this kind of crap needs to stop. It really does. And how do we change that? Well, stop letting people tell you how to feel. Stop letting people tell you what you should be angry about. Be a damn decent human being to each other. I'm dead serious. Even if a person disagrees with you, doesn't mean they hate you. So don't be hateful towards them if they disagree with you. And people shouldn't be hateful back. Look, folks, I understand. Sometimes there's hills you want to die on. But understand something. And I want everybody to understand this very clearly. And I am 100%. You can fact check me on what I'm about to say. And you can't prove it wrong. None of us are getting out of this life alive. We are all going to die at some point. It is guaranteed. So why be an asshole to each other? Why be hateful? Why be threatening to each other? We're all in this together. We're all going to die. Death is undefeated and will remain undefeated. It's real simple. Be a decent human being to each other. If you disagree, you disagree. Shit happens. I can tell you right now, me and Ben have talked, and we've disagreed on shit. Me and Nikani, we've disagreed on shit. Me and Rathlos, we've disagreed on shit. Do we try to kill each other? Do we talk bad about each other? Do we sit there and talk about how worthless each other is? Nope. We don't. So why can't the rest of the world be like that? People are going to disagree with you. What would be the scary part is if everybody agreed with everybody 100% of the time, life would get boring. There would be nothing worth living for at that point anymore because there's no challenge. It's simple. We need to look at the psychological construct of this society now and figure out what has gone wrong. That is where the problem lies in these mass shooting incidents, and we need to figure out how to fix that. Some people are just out there lost in the wilderness in their head. Some people are detached from reality, and there's nothing you could do about that. Here's another thing. We need to stop medicating people who have psychological problems and leaving them at home. There are some people with some real serious psychological issues that don't need to be left at home. Maybe we need to look at reopening psychological facilities where some of these people can be taken out of society but not put in prison. Now, I know we went away from these mental hospitals, and the reason why we went away from them is because look what happened throughout the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Well, hell, all the way back since their inception, since back in the tuberculosis days. They were torturing people and mistreating them and abusing them. I'm pretty damn certain we can go back to those and we can start getting people legitimate psychological help. Not just, here's a fucking bottle of pills, hope you don't hang yourself or kill anybody. Here's the other problem we're gonna see here come real soon. I'm pretty sure if they already haven't, I'm sure just a busload of lawyers are descending upon Uvalde, Texas right now because the families of the victims of the elementary school in Connecticut, was it Connecticut? Which of course happened 10 years ago. A judge allowed them, and they won, to sue Remington. Remington settled, which set a dangerous precedent. I am willing to bet there is a charter bus load of lawyers that is descending upon Uvalde to get a piece of this action to sue the gun manufacturers that the kid had. Problem is they're going to have to do it in the state of Texas. We have a little bit better judges down here. But the precedents, I told you guys when I did that show, a dangerous precedent had been set. It's not the gun manufacturer's fault that somebody decided to take one of their tools that they manufactured and use it in a way that they weren't supposed to. And by the way, to the comment that keeps coming up from fucking Joe Biden about deer don't have Kevlar vests, let me explain to you something there, Joe. Joe, you can't shoot a deer from 125 to 200 yards away with a shotgun. You can't do it. This is what happens with a round when it's heading that way, right? This round shotgun. Before it even gets there. Okay? But AR-15, you can shoot a deer 175 yards. 200 yards. Okay. SKS. Now, he said AK-47, and it's like, what? No, it's just SKS. Okay. 308. You can shoot deer at that distance, but you can't do it with shotgun. Can't do it with black powder rifle. Can't do it with bow and arrow. 175, 200 yards. Okay. So quit with the deer don't need a bulletproof vest. Not to mention the fact, some of these, yeah, if you ever lived out in Nevada, okay, you got bear. Do you think a 22 is going to drop a bear if he's coming after you? No. Do you think 22 is going to drop mountain lions coming after you? No. Just saying. So stop. He needs to stop with that. That deer don't wear Kevlar vest. That is the dumbest ass argument ever. If anybody says, well, deer don't have Kevlar vests, so you don't need that. Okay, so I want you to go out in Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, go shoot deer with a shotgun. Okay? I want you to try. I want you to shoot one with a handgun. Tell me how it works out for you. Let me know if the round even makes it that far. Because it won't. Just saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the show for tonight. We've gone on for about an hour and 23 minutes, which is longer than usual. Oh! I got a comment over here. This has to be one of the dumbest things he has said. Range is needed, but also deer are not small. And punching deer skin ain't equivalent to human skin. Why you can't take them with a pistol even close? Actually, I shot one with a 38 up close because my shot didn't kill it. And I'm not going to let it sit there and suffer it. But I put 38 right up against his ear canal and pulled the trigger. It killed him. I believe it's 38. Yeah, it was 38. But that's at extreme close range. That is barrel against the skull. Close range. But yeah, you're right. Deer skin is actually used as a form of leather as hide. It's tough shit. But a shotgun will go through it. But you're not going to shoot a deer at 150 yards with a shotgun. But you're not going to go hunting in the woods even with a 22 to drop a deer. It's not going to happen. Yeah, and a vulnerable spot. You're right. I was going to take your phone calls tonight if anybody wanted to call this show. I don't know if anybody wants to or not to talk about this. But, we'll do it on another day. Folks, I will not be having a show tomorrow. Tomorrow, I am leaving for Florida to go pick up my son. I will have a show Monday. We are now going to be back on the air, back on as a regular schedule starting on Monday. I got the work situation squared away now where I work in the morning. I work early morning breakfast run all the way through the lunch run. Yes, caliber is a really stupid argument. I know a guy that goes up and gets tags for shooting Kodiak. I believe it's Kodiak. Grizzly. He gets one tag a year. Uses a Barrett 50 caliber long rifle. Okay. 50 caliber? Now that's a large goddamn round. But anyway, we're going to be back on the show starting on Monday, regular schedule. Like I said, I want to do these 2 days because I figured out a way to see if I can make it work, and it did. So that's what we're going to go with. So we will see you guys back here on Monday. For those of you, for some reason, that it did not send you a notification, do this. Unclick your notification button. Re-click it. It may be it went so long that YouTube took it out of your rotation. So if you're on Twitch, if you got the notification, leave it alone. If you didn't, click unfollow and then follow again. If you're on YouTube, click the notification bell, turn it off, and then click it back on again. If you're on Facebook, make sure you follow my page is set to all when I go live, and you should get a notification that Rich is live. Because there is a setting in Facebook where you go up to the notifications for it, and it will tell you all live events, stuff like that. Also, if you don't catch the show, you can always go back and watch it because it automatically uploads. It loads up. It also I have it set to Rumble, and hopefully soon we're gonna be doing live on Rumble as well. Because I think at some point I'm gonna hit topics that YouTube's gonna be like no, and they're gonna take me down. Don't know. By the way, folks, if you like the show, you want to support the show, you want the show keep going, therich.wilsonshow.com. If you go there, you'll find the merch store. Buy merch. I have some cool stuff. Going to have some more stuff that I'm working on. But I have literally almost everything under the sun you can think of. When it comes to, I identify as an Apache attack helicopter. St. Javelin, the protector of Ukraine. And Stop Fake Hate. And then I have a couple for the don't let others determine who you are. As well. Those are the ones that I have up now, but I am going to be working on getting some more stuff as well. So go over there and check it out. I've got my identify as Apache attack helicopter. My pronouns are pew 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 and brr. And the Stop Fake Hate shirt. They're awesome shirts. A lot of people love the I identify as an Apache attack helicopter. I actually had people that don't even listen to the show that bought one. They saw me wearing it in public. So, but anyway, we'll see you guys back here on Monday. Now, please pay attention to Facebook and on our Facebook page, on the Rich Wilson Show Facebook page, and on my personal Facebook page will be on Twitter and on Getter. We put the announcements of when the show is. So don't think at 6 o'clock, if you haven't seen me go live, that I'm not doing a show. There is some times where we're doing research, where me and Dave are doing research, and we might be a few minutes late. Like tonight, we were 30 minutes late because we were working on the Beto, the Robert O'Rourke thing. So it took us a little while to get that, so we were late running it. Okay, so don't think just because 6 o'clock hits Central, 7 o'clock Eastern, that we're not doing a show. We just may be running late. So look for the announcements on there. Okay, look for the announcements. We may be running late. Okay, for everybody here at the world famous Rich Wilson Show, I'm Rich Wilson. Dave, thank you very much. You guys have yourselves a good night, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Have a good weekend, folks. Even though it's going to be Memorial Day, yes, I'm doing a show. Yes, I'm doing a show on Memorial Day. I understand it's Memorial Day. I'm doing a show. It's not going to be very long. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, unless something absolutely necessarily has to be covered, we're probably going to talk about Memorial Day. Okay? Almost guarantee it. Folks, let me tell you something before this weekend. A lot of people wonder about it, and Connie's asked this question before. Going out and having a barbecue and a fun get together on Memorial Day does not go against what Memorial Day means. Okay, it doesn't. Memorial Day is a time to remember those who lost their lives so we can enjoy our freedoms. But it's also you honor them by enjoying your freedoms. So go out this weekend, have a barbecue, drink a beer. Make sure when you're drinking that beer or a shot of something, look up to the sky and simply say thank you. I get to do this today because you pay the ultimate price. That's how you honor Memorial Day properly. I've seen so many people go, well, you can't do that. It's a sad day. Men and women who died for this country so that you could be free do not want you not enjoying your freedoms. They died for you to enjoy your freedoms. Enjoy your freedoms. Just remember to say thank you. Zion Brain, celebrate by enjoying the freedoms they bought you. They bought you. Yes. So go out, have a barbecue, enjoy your friends. Make sure you take the time during it. In fact, stop the barbecue real quick. Get everybody that's there with you and say, all right, folks, it is Memorial Day, and we need to remember the people that lost their lives so we could all be here today. So raise your glass, look to the sky. Thank you. Take a drink. Even if you're not drinking beer, liquor, whatever, you're drinking a tea. Lift your cup to the sky and say thank you. I enjoy my freedom, and I want to thank you. That's how you repay the people that lost their lives so that you can be free. Enjoy your freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, for everybody here at the world-famous Rich Wilson Show, I'm Rich Wilson, and we're out of here. We got to go. All right. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which doesn't leave you a lot of room for error. All right. And we'll see you on the other side. Folks, we're gone. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points